Namaskar. It is said that it is nice to be important, but it is more important to be nice. My name is Mayur Suvarna Vivek Kalbag. I am, by profession and passion, a motivational speaker and specifically a leadership coach for different organizations and its employees in India, in Malaysia, in Fiji Islands, and hopefully with your best wishes to other countries as well. I will be celebrating 20 years of being an independent leadership coach and trainer in this particular year in September. Today I'm here in front of you to speak to you about something that makes a lot of relevance and importance in today's times. It is said that in today's world, we must not use yesterday's methods to be in tomorrow's business. Let me say it again. In today's world, we must not use yesterday's methods to be in tomorrow's business. What I want to say to you is, friends, this session, this presentation of mine is about how leaders should be the leaders for tomorrow. I believe that to be a successful leader, whether it has to do with leadership within your personal sphere of work, leadership that probably is about your social aspects, or leadership that has to do with your profession, leadership is that which defines success. I remember while reading a book, The Wings of Fire by the great APJ Abdul Kalam, he had said in the book that if the leader is strong, then the team and the leader and the organization and whatever the activity that they're part of becomes successful. So this particular presentation of mine, friends, is about how can we, especially in the present period of the COVID-19, and as we look forward to the future, how can we become stronger and more successful? Let me begin by highlighting something which really changed my attitude towards leadership. I remember watching this particular video, and I want to share this with you. It's a story. A professor of, who sort of teaches, who's an expert on leadership, enters his class. There are about 100 students sitting there. He looks at them and he begins his leadership lecture with a question to the students. He says to them, "Good afternoon, everybody. As you all are here to begin your journey of learning about leadership, I want to start the lecture by asking you, does cow give milk?" The students are surprised. Imagine they're sitting for a class on leadership. There comes this expert on leadership. And what does he do? He asks a question, which is, does cow give milk? You can imagine the reaction from the students, right? Even as I put this to you, you must be wondering, ye kya prashna hai? What is this question? As the students are surprised, some are baffled, confused. One student raises his hand and says, "Sir, I have not seen a buffalo giving milk." Some others laugh. Another student says, "I have not seen a cow giving curds, dahi." So they, sort of wonder what's happening. That's when the professor, with a very pleasant face, looks at all of them and says, "I'm going to ask you the question. But I will ask you the question in such a way that probably in the way I put it to you, you might understand what I'm trying to say. So he says that initially I asked you, does cow give milk? Now I'm going to ask you, does cow give milk? Have you ever seen a cow giving the milk? That is when some of the students, their laughter vanishes and they start thinking. And one of the students raises his hand. So the professor says, yes, tell me. He says, sir, to be honest, I've never seen a cow giving milk because we normally take it. And that's when a lot of the other students realize that a cow never gives the milk. We take it. And I'd like to begin the journey, our journey of understanding how to be more effective as leaders is this lesson that I learned through that video, through that story is if we want to enhance ourselves towards becoming effective leaders, the most important thing I believe is to keep learning. And learning doesn't happen when somebody just gives something to us. When I listen to somebody, I shouldn't just swallow it. I should extract some learnings from it. For example, you have a conversation with somebody, and that somebody happens to be a knowledgeable person. Extract the milk of learning from that person. The question that you should ask yourself is, have I learned something from it? It could be a conversation. It could be something that you're reading from a magazine, or from a newspaper, or from a textbook. You know, today we always speak about not just mugging things up, learning things by heart. We should understand. But I take it a step forward. Leaders should not just understand, they should learn. They should absorb, extract the learnings, and go one step ahead and implement those learnings. I remember this particular gentleman I met who at that point of time was the head of sales for a particular pharmaceutical company. I was having dinner with him. And he said to me that a lot of things that he's learned from his meetings with people with amazing experience. So I asked him, what exactly are you trying to say? So he said that, whenever I would meet somebody who would be either elder to me in terms of not only age, but in terms of experience, in terms of knowledge, and whenever I would meet them, I would ask questions. And when they would say something from their point of view, I would always try and extract something for myself. And a lot of times it helped me to, make my sales better. In fact, it helped me to make my team better. And it came from conversations from which I extracted. A leader is not the person who only, starts feeling like a leader. A leader is somebody who also shapes himself or herself in terms of knowledge. And that knowledge comes when you extract. Remember, a cow never gives the milk, we take it. So be an extractor of learnings. That's a very important aspect of leadership which I wanted to share with you. As we go forward, they say that a ship at the shore will always be safe. Just think about it. A ship at the shore will always be safe. But is that the true nature of the ship? Is the real functioning of a ship to be at the shore and be happy that, I'm at the shore, nothing will happen to me? Of course, nothing will happen to you because you're at the shore. But is that the true nature of the ship? Similarly, just as the nature of the ship is to jump into the ocean, as in get into the ocean, be prepared for all the high waves, the storms, the winds, and yet go through all those tough times and finally reach the destination. Similarly, a true leader is somebody who makes or takes the initiative to not just stay where he or she is and be happy that, I've not done anything, it's okay. He or she takes the dive into the ocean of opportunities. But wherever there are opportunities, there are challenges, there are difficulties. But staying at the shore and feeling very safe is not the answer. Here I'm talking about a leader's attitude to take calculated risks, the leader's attitude of courage to take calculated risks. If he doesn't or she doesn't get into the ocean, so how do I relate it to all of us? It's tomorrow, whether it is to do with your profession, your work, or it has to do with your social work as a Rotarian, or as a human being. If you have any sort of a desire, ambition, aspiration, आपको कुछ हासिल करना है, and if you feel that it is going to be a little difficult, don't hold back. Make that decision when you know that you need to achieve that goal. And you also may know that it may not be that easy. Yet, your true nature is not to stay at the shore and be safe. You have to take the risk, but a calculated one. As we go forward and as we get more into the ocean of discovery about leadership, another aspect which I want all of us to think about is that which is known as out-of-box thinking. A leader, somebody who's leading teams, will also come across problems, challenges, just like I said. It is important to understand that we need to shape up our attitude towards thinking a little differently. As I said, thinking out of the box. I remember a very simple story. Very simple story. There was a hill. There was a beautiful place of worship at the top of the hill. Very beautiful, very serene. Some of these young college students, they heard about it and they wanted to go to the temple. There were 5 of them. As they came to the base of the hill, they could see the temple. And they could also see the route, the way to the temple, to the top of the hill, to the temple. Without thinking, because they could see the way, they started walking. And it took almost 2 hours and they reached the temple. It was beautiful. It was very quiet and, they loved the place there. And they said, next week, hame wapas jana hai. We need to go once again. So the 5 of them decided, yes. The same thing. They went on that next weekend. This time, one of those 5 people had a different idea. He said to the other 4 that, you know what? Hill, the temple, the place of worship, one particular way. Isn't there another way? So the other said, Arey jo hai wo hai yaar. Whatever is there, come on, why are you trying to be a hero? He said, it's not about a hero. Aren't there some other options? Maybe there's a shorter route. So the other 4 said that, come on, yaar, if there was a shorter route, other people would have found out. He said, maybe, but I don't have a problem in exploring. I have been always into trekking and hiking and mountaineering. I don't mind. So the other 4 said, go, you do what you want. You always want to shine, show off. So the other 4, climbed and followed the same way. Whereas this particular person, he was very passionate about finding another way. And he started going around, at the base of the hill, checking out. Now remember, friends, there are 2 outcomes from this. One, it could have happened that this particular person may have realized that there isn't any other way. The way that they went is the only one. But at least he knew that there isn't any other way. At least he tried. He thought to explore other ways towards reaching the top, with the idea that it will take a lesser time. But what about the positive outcome? And that's exactly what happened. As he was sort of walking around and checking and, as the others were almost halfway, he actually stumbled upon a small little getaway. It was steep. He saw some villagers coming down. So he asked them, is this the way to the temple? They said, yes, but it's a little tough. He said, of course, I'm a trekker. I can try at least. So he started trekking through that way which he found, and finally reached the temple 10 minutes before the others could reach. Friends, what is the learning from this? The learning is that creativity doesn't mean that we have to be successful all the time. Thinking out of the box doesn't mean that every time we do that, we will be winners. Sometimes it's okay to fail because at least you tried. Remember, when we want to be creative, one of the barriers that come is, what if I fail? What will the others say? That person from the five may have thought, could have thought, but he was more stronger in the mind. And he said, it doesn't matter. I personally want to check if there's another route. In your pursuit towards accomplishing your goals, as leaders, we need to have the courage to explore different ways towards solving a particular problem or an issue. Crisis management is very important for leaders. And one of the ways to manage or deal with a crisis is to have a creative way of looking at things. How can I do this in a different way? You use Facebook, isn't it? We all use Facebook. We use Instagram. You know, the founder of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, once said that creativity is what prompted him, or which probably pushed him towards exploring the creation of this virtual social site. Remember, before that, there must have been something, but this person really made Facebook so famous. Everybody today connects with one another. It started with an idea. I believe that all of us need to open our mind and explore new ideas. And I hope that you will. Remember, failing is part of life. In fact, successful people have said that they've learned far more from failures than successes. As I move forward, I want to highlight something that happened in my life and something that I want you to also think about. I was, working for organizations, and I found that it was very, very interesting, at the same time stressful. There came a time when the stress levels were so high that I didn't feel like going to office. There was a time when I also felt like quitting my job because the work pressure was so much. My attitude, my passion to work, to achieve my goals, my short-term goals, my medium-term goals, all that, went to the background because I was so stressed out. Every day was a struggle. What was the stress? The pressure of achieving targets. Also, some of the people in my team, especially my superiors, were not giving me a good time. They were giving me a hard time. I realized that it is extremely important, and now when I look back, it was extremely important that I had to make a choice. I had to decide whether I submit to stress or I probably start battling it. I believe managing stress, if we don't do, it affects our growth. Leaders, remember, have teams who follow. If a leader gets stressed out, if a leader loses his or her motivation to persevere towards accomplishing the goals that he set for himself, for his team, for his organization, for his department, if the stress affects the leader, it could puncture that motivation, that passion. And therefore, it is extremely important. At that point of time when I was feeling those stresses almost to the point where I wanted to quit my job, I realized that at that point, it was like I was at the cliff, whether I jump into stresses or I take a step back. Thankfully, I met a few people who taught me how to look at life, who also taught me how to deal with stress on a day-to-day basis. So in case, you feel that pressure which can lead to stress, remember that if you let it grow, it can affect. In fact, there are people who have been affected in terms of their health, mental health, physical health. There are so many people I've come across at very senior positions who are unable to really enjoy their life because of the pressures, the stresses. They don't feel happy. You know what I'm saying? They do not feel excited. They're making good money. What they need is to know how to reduce the stresses which have, in a way, infected their happiness. And for that, I want to share with you a few things. Whenever you feel stress is going high, the first thing I need you to do is deep breathe. Start inhaling as deep as possible. Try and close your eyes. Keep your back straight. Inhale. Hold your breath for some time and then exhale as slowly as possible. Do this 3 or 4 times. What it will do is it will immediately calm your mind. And they say that a calm mind opens up positivity. A confused mind, a chaotic mind, a stressed mind awakens negativity. In fact, people get more angry. People get more affected in their behavior with people because of stress levels. As a leader, if we can manage stress, our own stress, we can also influence our team members to also decrease their stresses. Especially in today's times with the COVID hovering all around. And you know as much as I know the unfortunate part about the second wave being so challenging. People are losing lives. God, heartfelt condolences to the people. I've lost close ones myself. Even that creates stress. Work from home. There are so many of you and me, we're working from home because of the lockdown. That creates stress. If we don't allow or if we don't do something to deal with it, we're opening the gates for stresses to affect us tremendously. So please take care of that. Deep breathing enhances oxygen. Deep breathing calms the nerves. It helps the mind to relax. It gives you that time and space to process the stresses. And somewhere you are able to find solutions. It actually balances you. So think about that. As this journey goes forward, I have to introduce to you something that I brought from Kailash Manasarovar, from the Himalayas. I want to show it to you. And I'm talking about something called a Tibetan bell. This particular bell is not alone. It has something called a stick, a wooden stick. Now, when I hold this bell and I hit it, it creates a vibration, right? Let me play it to you. I'll play it once again. Now, what I'm going to do is something that will probably surprise you. It's the same bell, it's the same stick, but now see what I do and see what happens. I place the stick at the edge of the bell, and then I rotate it around the edge and see what happens. Can you hear it? Well, friends, this bell and the stick is only my way of talking about what a leader should have or should bring out is vibrations. Good vibrations. As we have people around us, whether it has to do with your workplace, your businesses, or your social connections, as you meet a lot of people, you implement a lot of positive policies and initiatives for the Rotary. You come across a lot of people. What I have seen is the really successful people have the ability and the art to connect with people. A leader should be able to create positive connectivity with people. Have you heard of a word called rapport? We must be able to establish positive rapport with people, because that is how teams get formed. That is how teams get motivated, inspired. This bell represents a very positive vibration. Now, I don't say that you need to carry a bell wherever you go. The vibrations come in the form of your communication. I call it the tripod on which your communication is defined. The tripod on which the vibrations will be extremely positive. So what is this tripod? It's your body language. It's your facial expressions, including your eye contact. And finally, it's your verbal modulations. Your body language, your facial expressions, eye contact, and your verbal modulations. If you can improve on that, if you can enhance those skills, you will find that your overall communication will become excellent, and that will help you to connect with people. They say that a very positive attitude is great, but not enough. Positive attitude along with positive communication will end up in creating that impact, because the vibration that you'll bring out will be very, very positive, very, very inspiring. So you may say, Mayur, yes, you talked about body language. What exactly do you mean by that? A couple of things I'd like to share. Whenever you are in front of somebody, whether you're standing or you're seated and you're trying to explain or you're trying to present your content or your knowledge, always have your hands like this, or like this, or like this. I'm saying like this because you can see it, right? This is called palm on palm. This is called the Namaskar posture. And this is called the fingertip to fingertip. While you're speaking, always use hand movements. For example, you want to say something about the future and something about an initiative through the Rotary. You can say like this. So the first step is this. The second step, the third step, it's called scaling up. Or you can even do something like, now why am I showing this to you is because this is the part of body language, your hand movements. Also, when you stand, see that you don't stand on one side. Always stand in an attentive and an attention posture. Your attention posture. Remember in Scouts or in school we used to have PT. Attention, stand at ease. Always stand not at ease. Stand in attention, and it makes you look attentive. When it comes to your eye contact, always look at the person. Don't look here, don't look there. Your eye contact also helps you to communicate your confidence. And when you speak, speak with good clarity in speech. Sometimes people across wouldn't understand if you don't speak clearly. Along with it, have good voice. Practice. Sometimes I talk to people about practicing Om. It not only de-stresses, but it also creates a good, strong voice. Om. Well, friends, if you can work on building up and strengthening your presentation, your communication, a very positive vibration will come out from you, and that will help you to connect with people. I want to finally conclude by showing something which is quite different from the bell. This is an arrow. Yes, this is an arrow. And why am I showing this to you? Because I'm trying to talk about archery. In archery, you need to have an arrow, you need to have the bow, but you need to have something more than that. And that is the attitude of the archer. A leader today must be the archer. The first thing that a leader should have as an archer is target. There should be some target to shoot at, isn't it? So please, as leaders, we need to be very clear about our short term, our medium term, and our long term goals. Write it on a piece of paper or in a diary and keep it, and always keep referring to it. As an archer, just having the target is not enough. We should have the techniques to be able to shoot the arrow from the bow, isn't it? Archery is not easy. You need to know how to. So develop the techniques, develop the knowledge. It is said that education today is not how much we know, it is how well we know. So go deep into it. Remember that when you develop knowledge, your content becomes stronger. Along with positive communication, good vibrations, and a strong content, you as a leader will always be able to inspire people around you and achieve your goals. Remember, if you look at this arrow at the tip, can you see this? The tip is always sharp because even if you have a target, it's not enough. The arrow should be sharp enough to penetrate the target. So when you want to achieve your target, what we need is sharp mind. For the arrow is the sharp tip. For me or for you is the sharp mind. So develop alertness, develop awareness, develop a keen sense of concentration and focus, and develop, as an archer once told me, a solid determination and passion to achieve the goal. Well, friends, there are many more things that could be shared, but in the time that I've been allotted, I wanted to share this with you. I wish you all the best. I have to conclude by saying to you that apart from being an international trainer for the last 20 years, I'm also a passionate author, and my latest book, Aghori, An Untold Story, has been recently launched on Amazon. So do go and check it out, explore that. I also love to write poetry, I love to paint, and I believe that I've been blessed to live this life as who I am, maybe once, so I will make the most of it. Through this period of COVID-19, I want to wish all of you and your relatives best of health. Please take care, stay safe. Most of all, stay positive, stay progressive, and stay persistent. Thank you very much, and thank you to the Rotary, to all the people who have made this possible. The technical team, Mr. Srinivas Malu especially, who has taken the initiative and for giving me this opportunity. You can connect with me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram. Please do, and let's work together towards becoming effective leaders in this coming world, in this world and the coming future. Thank you so much. Love you all.